Hello, and welcome to volume 33 of the Bellringer. I'm Stacey Mankoff, creator of the Bellringer interviews and managing principal of the Mankoff Company and founder of After the Bell events. I am delighted to welcome Matt Andelman, who is the CEO, managing member, and co-founder of ABC Tokens and ABC FinTech. And we're going to be discussing the current and future state of commercial real estate, how tokenization can democratize investment. Matt has 20 plus years of experience in commercial real estate development, construction, brokerage, and property management. With this deep understanding of commercial real estate, a curiosity for new technologies, and a thirst for innovation, he became obsessed with the idea of tokenizing real-world assets. And we're looking forward to hearing his views on that. In 2020, he founded the ABC companies and assembled a team of leading commercial real estate experts with 300 years plus of combined experience and $6 billion of transactions executed. In 2022, he launched the fully operational investment platform, www.abctokens.com. And welcome, Matt.
Hi, Stacey. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, this is terrific. To get us started on it, how did you get involved with commercial real estate?
That's kind of a funny story. It was my senior year of college, and I just needed some credit, so I took an elective, a drawing class. And they always say, you know, it's not what you know, but who you know. So I made a friend in that class, and after graduating, I didn't have a job lined up yet, and I was introduced to her family, which they're commercial real estate developers here in the Chicagoland area with a 1 million square foot portfolio of retail and office space and some other mixed use developments going on, condos above retail. And I interviewed, and I was a finance major with an emphasis in real estate. So I knew it was something I was interested in. And I got along great with her dad, and he kind of hired me on the spot, and I worked there for almost 7 years and learned everything. You know, I was presenting to various municipalities, so zoning boards, appearance review committees, planning commissions, and city council hearings. And I was also leasing the vacant retail and office space in this portfolio and handling some property management too. So that's kind of how I got my start.
Interesting. Now, where do you see, what's the current state of the commercial real estate market? And then how does tokenization fit into that?
Current state of the commercial real estate market, I think you'll probably hear a lot of people complaining about the current state of the commercial real estate market. I think the pandemic, disrupted things, and retail and office, I'll say, are two property types that never really fully recovered in general, macro speaking here. And I think interest rates, well, I know interest rates have gone up, and I know owners are facing mortgage maturity walls here, where, property values have come down, maybe not as big of a correction as I expected, but enough where maybe refinancing isn't even an option. So property owners would give the properties back to the banks, but the banks don't necessarily want them either, because bankers are, bankers are in the business.
They don't want to be landlords.
Exactly. They're not in the business of operating distressed commercial real estate assets. So while the current state for some, might be bleak, it's for new funds like ABC Tokens. I think there's a lot of opportunity to buy properties at a discount here and take advantage of that going forward.
Well, how does tokenization fit into this? Can you explain how it works?
Sure. Well, and in general, commercial real estate's known to be an exclusive, asset. And so you need a network.
I'm a lay person. I don't, I'm not a big developer. What is it, 3 trees or whatever it is around there.
Exactly. You need to have relationships with commercial, experienced commercial real estate brokers. You need to have a lot of capital. You have, knowledge to execute and be successful. And so for the average investor, that's just not accessible. And I think tokenization is promising because it can lower the capital minimum, and it can broaden access. It creates efficiencies, and it has potential to bring liquidity to this asset class that's notoriously illiquid. So
it provides better opportunities for like the regular investor, like myself, to have these opportunities?
Sure, sure. There are crowdfunding for real estate's not new. And
Okay.
there are platforms like CrowdStreet, for example, where if you're an accredited investor, I think the minimum investment's 25,000 and you can participate in deals on their platform. But still $25,000 is a lot of money.
Right.
And then there are others who have reduced it. Fundrise is a good example, and there's no blockchain or tokenization aspect to Fundrise. And I think you might be able to invest on Fundrise for as little as $500 or $1,000. But again, there's no secondary market. So when you want to exit, you're selling your shares back to Fundrise,
Mhm.
and oftentimes at a discount. And so the reason why I liked tokenization and the promises of blockchain, and if you think about it, these digital asset securities that are regulated by the SEC. So
Mhm.
just you think ownership shares in commercial real estate represented in the form of a digital token, but still regulated by the SEC, unlike unregulated cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Right, which is a big difference.
Huge, yeah.
Mhm.
And so, but so cryptocurrency trades on Coinbase and Bitcoin and Ether, very, very liquid.
Mhm.
The idea here is for these digital asset securities or security tokens like ABC to be trading and to be liquid on a secondary market one day. And
Mhm.
so that's one of what I think is a huge benefit of blockchain is this potential for early liquidity options and private market investments. And I see it just like commercial real estate is typically an illiquid investment. Your capital is locked up for 5 years or 10 years or longer. Same with early stage companies. I see this working well with private equity too. And if you want to invest in an early stage company, but maybe you typically have to wait for an acquisition or an IPO or something to
Right.
realize your return and exit. I think there's potential for secondary markets to form for security tokens that represent fractional ownership in an early stage company, and for people to exit early or earlier than is typical.
So right now, the market is in a state of flux, to put it kindly, I suppose.
Mhm.
What is your long view of this? When do you think there'll be a turn, and what do you think will influence that? And then, which areas of commercial real estate do you believe will provide the best investment and the best opportunity for ABC to incorporate into their portfolios?
So the market is in flux, and but again, it's almost like when you say cryptocurrency, it's like which cryptocurrency are you talking about, right?
Got it. Uh-huh.
I think similar with commercial real estate, it's like, well, are you talking about multifamily or industrial or data centers or retail or
Right.
office?
Uh-huh.
So
Sure.
even now, I think data centers and let's say logistics, industrial are strong property types and have been doing well, and I think will continue doing well.
Okay.
I think we're seeing a correction in the market with the value of multifamily properties, and I think we'll continue to see, especially maybe Class B and Class C property values come down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then retail and office, I see there potentially being great buying opportunities to be able to pick up some of these distressed assets here in the near future. So I don't know, I'm sure if I answered your
No,
question.
you did. You sort of talked about it, but
Oh, I'll give you one more example.
okay, great.
So on office properties, a lot of, I'll say, developers, investors are looking at potentially converting some of these office buildings, these vacant office buildings or underperforming office buildings to residential. And
Right.
even let's just say the northern half of the United States, a lot of potential there. Southern half of the United States, you might pick up an office property, but the highest and best use is to keep it office and maybe renovate it and try to increase rents,
Mm-hmm.
long-term leases and stabilize it. So it just depends geographic location and property type in terms of, what would the strategy be?
Well, thank you, Matt. This was sort of a taste of more of this area of commercial real estate. For our audience, Matt will be on our panel next week here in New York on September 21st, discussing the tokenization and digitization of assets, and commercial real estate obviously being a huge proponent of them. And I hope that some of you will come and join us and hear more. So thank you, Matt. I really appreciate your take on this, and I look forward to seeing you next week, and I look forward to seeing you all at the next Bellringer.
Awesome. I look forward to being there too, Stacey. And if it's not too late, I'd like to say one more thing about tokenization.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I also see there as being a bridge to DeFi. And I think what's interesting is with Bitcoin, you can, let's say, deposit it somewhere like Nexo, for example, and borrow immediately against its value, 50% of the value of Bitcoin. So if you own, let's say, $50,000 of Bitcoin, you deposit it in Nexo, you can borrow 25,000. And then that's without talking to a person, that's without filling out an application, that's without having a credit check. And I see the same thing being able to happen with digital asset securities, where you may be able to deposit those somewhere at an institution like a Nexo and immediately borrow against it without having to sell your security tokens. So you get kind of that upside with the appreciation of the commercial real estate with your token, while still getting some liquidity by being able to borrow against it as well.
That seems a tremendous advantage. Thank you for sharing that with us. And again,
sure.
Matt, thank you so much for being on the Bellringer, and all have a good day. Bye-bye.
Great. Bye.